Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News here on Fox 14. In our 6 o'clock show, we introduced you to Dan Keyes talking about the Gene Kelly program that's going on, the whole program actually. It's going on at the Bolus Fine Arts Center in Iola. And now, Patricia Ward Kelly, Gene Kelly's wife, is joining us here in the studio to share a little more about Gene and his career. And from what I understand too, I mean, it goes beyond what a lot of people knew about Gene. There's a lot to him. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. So what are some of the things you can tell us that maybe people didn't know about Gene?
Well, that's one of the reasons I started doing this one-woman show, because people have such a one-dimensional view of him. They don't understand that he spoke multiple languages. He spoke French, he spoke Italian, he spoke Yiddish. He was an economics major. He very often read a book a day. He was really a director, a choreographer, a producer, a writer, singer. I mean, he was not a triple threat. He was really more of an octuple threat. And so it's really fun to kind of take people on this journey. I say they get in a little boat with me and they don't really know where they're going, but they go right into, not only into his mind, but also into his heart, the kind of man he was.
And what was that experience like for you to be able to share that with him and to share life with him, and just knowing the rich history that he had, and then learning maybe even more yourself about him?
Well, I had to get up to speed pretty fast, because when I first met him, the grand irony is that I did not know who Gene Kelly was. So I always think that's probably why he married me, because I was one of the rare women who didn't, most of them just fell on the floor, and I knew nothing. And so he brought me out to write his story, and as a result, I recorded him in some fashion nearly every day, and really got to know who this guy was. I mean, he's beautiful up on the screen. He's gorgeous, he's charming, but there was so much to him, and I really, so it's nice to be able to share that, because people come out of my show and they'll say, you know, I loved him before, but I love him even more now. And you know, he was a true romantic, and that's one of the things that I think people imagine he would be that way, but they don't know for sure. And I actually brought along.
Right, I was going to say, you've got some stuff
well,
with you.
I did, because in the show he was like a little boy for Valentine's Day and for my birthdays. That the minute it turned midnight, I would start to find Valentines sprinkled all around the house. And here's one of them that he had. It just says, "I'm glad you're my wife," and then he signed it, "Guess who." So, and this is another one that says, "Roses are red, white, pink, and yellow. You're my Valentine, and I'm your fella." And it was just, really, these are little things that he found at the little local dime store, and then he added his little notes to it. And so,
that's just awesome. That's an incredible piece of information. Again, people won't get just from watching him on the screen. They won't get to know who he really was and what he was really like in life. And how important is that for you to be able to share that, to go beyond what people think they know of Gene?
Oh, I think it's vital, because I think what it shows too is how contemporary he is. I mean, one of the things that I brought, these are his Converse tennis shoes. And I mean, he was wearing these way before it was cool to wear these, and yet he was so far ahead of his time, not only in his filmmaking, but also in his clothes. I mean, he was wearing he would wear these sweaters and scarves and caps and khaki pants and these, and so really people think he just stepped out of a J. Crew catalog or something. You know?
And you mentioned his directing. Obviously, people know him for his dancing, they know him for his film appearances, but what a lot of folks you're finding don't realize is he was also a great director behind the scenes as well.
Well, and that's really how he wished to be remembered, because people do think of him on the screen and they forget he's behind the scenes directing and choreographing what you're seeing. And so Sing in the Rain, On the Town, It's Always Fair Weather, Cheyenne Social Club, directing Hello Dolly. People forget that he directed the film Hello Dolly with Barbra Streisand and Walter Matthau. So I have a beautiful segment in the show, behind the scenes with Gene up there on the boom directing 12,000 extras in that.
That's incredible. And just one last thing, what can people look forward to at the show this evening?
I think a surprise, I think really, and getting to know him, I think they really understand what made him tick, what made him so unique, and what made him so, as I say, he's basically timeless, because he's been gone 26 years and yet he's still the hottest thing around.
Still a very important part of people's lives.
Very much so.
To this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Patricia, thank you so much for joining us this morning. And of course, remember, we've got information on the show on our website, KOAMnewsnow.com, at the Bolus Fine Arts Center in Iola. We'll be back right after this.